Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to another video. Behind me is the Honda E Advance, and in this video I'm going to take you through what this car is, what it's like to drive, all the cool gizmos inside, and if you like that kind of content, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and let's crack on with the video. Okay, so let's first talk about the Honda E's design, because as far as EVs go, I think the Honda E is one of the most endearing cars out there. All you have to do is look at it and you get a warm feeling about what you're going to drive. Now, the interior of the car and the driver functions are also pretty awesome, but we'll get to those in a minute. Now, the color itself is stunning. The color is a crystal blue, and this model, being the advanced model, also comes with the 17-inch wheels, as you can see down there. The other bit it has cameras for mirrors, which is awesome. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, but they are pretty awesome. And it's great to see that things like camera mirrors have made their way out of the concept model into the production model. Now, other cool features we get on the Honda E is, of course, a sky roof there at the top, which I'll show you once we get inside the car. But we also get pop-out door handles, which look very, very cool, and some nice LED headlights, which makes Honda E feel and look like it's from the future. Now, in terms of performance, the car will do 0 to 62 miles per hour in 8.3 seconds from its 35 kilowatt hour battery, and power is equivalent to 154 miles per hour, 154 brake horsepower, and 315 newton meters of torque. Now, the advanced model is quicker to 62 than the base car, which does it in 9 seconds and runs the equivalent of 20 brake horsepower less. Range from the Honda E Advance on paper is 137 miles, but of course that's dependent on how and where you drive it. Motorway miles will eat the battery much quicker than short city trips. Additional features that you get with a Honda E Advance include a front windshield de-icer and Honda's parking assist as well. Now, the Honda E will also charge on a 50 kilowatt hour charger to 80% in just 31 minutes. Now, whilst the range isn't massively huge, the charge cycle is also pretty short, which I guess is beneficial. Boot space is pretty good, you know, for the car it is. It's not massive, of course, but you can still fit some decent sized bags in here as well, which is nice to see. Okay, so now we get to the interior of the Honda E, which this is where for me I absolutely love it. Let's first start with the cameras. So as you can see here with the cameras, these are your your side view mirrors. Now it's very easy to, when you first get in the car, to automatically look over here because that's what you would naturally do. It takes a little bit of time to get used to your right mirror there and your left mirror there, but when you do, it's very cool. We also get this, which is the rear view mirror, but you can also flick it and it will provide you a camera through the rear mirror, which is very cool, but it does play with my eyes a little bit. I'll touch on more of that in a moment. Now, if we look at the kind of main center display, let's start over here. Now you've got the main side, it's very simple, very minimal. It shows you your power, your electric charge over here on the right. It gives you your speed. These little bars here are the sensors for the adaptive cruise control and also for the lane assist. So you can see with the adaptive cruise control, you can shorten, make it closer to the car in front, and also to activate the lane assist. You also get heated steering wheel on this car, which again is a very nice thing to have. Other things that we get, you can see here, if I touch on the camera button, it will then change here for us to have a bit of a 360 surrounding view of what exactly is going on. The center display is broken up into two different parts. The first of which, they're two kind of customizable screens, so you can do what you want with it. So the first thing I'll show you, because I think it's extremely cool, if I go over here to all apps and I select my aquarium, that will take both of the screens and it will load up my fish. There it is. And with the aquarium, you can, feed the fish, do whatever you need to do. You can change the settings, depending on how many of these fish you want. It's very customizable. You can change it to a more water-based bed. It's completely up to you. Again, whilst I think this is quite gimmicky, I think it's also very cool and I do like it. Now, if you wanted to do something a little bit more functional, of course, if you plugged in an Xbox or a TV or anything with HDMI, you can see the screen here. So I'm not going to show you here, but many people have plugged an Xbox into the HDMI port, and if you want, you can play Xbox games. But basically anything. If you really want, you could put a TV in here. The other part as well, which I haven't touched on, but I will shortly, is again with a 3-pin plug. You can basically connect anything to it. Like if you wanted to bring a coffee machine with you when you're going out on an early morning sunrise trip, you could do that if you don't just fancy going to a coffee shop and want a bit more peace and quiet. Again, not that you probably would do that, but you can, and that's the beauty of it. Other things that we can do here, if I go onto the all apps and we wanted to customize, so I may want to have, for example, the clock here on one screen, and if I go over to this screen here, I may choose to have the sat nav on. So again, very, very customizable. I think we can flick them around, you know, if you wanted to do so, depending on what you're after. But I do really find this quite intuitive. Now, the other thing as well is you can flick between your screens, so it's very much like a tablet. In terms of the materials, you obviously have this sustainable material with a kind of nice bronze stitching pattern. I'm not necessarily sure on the color of these seat belts, but you know, it is what it is. The seats themselves are very comfortable. They do have some bolstering. They're not the greatest bolstering in the world, but in terms of comfort factor, these are nice seats. If we take a bit of a look at the rear, again, very similar. The rear seats, they're not very fancy. They're not very flush, but they do the job. And again, they're comfortable seats. One of the things that I have found already is I normally have like a dog bed, which I put in here, and it's quite easy to clip in because this center divider here is split into 2 seats normally in most cars. This is split as one, so my own dog seat won't fit in here, so I need to find another solution for that. But again, that's a very first world problem. But just want to note, if you are going to have a dog seat in the rear of the car, just be mindful that this is a 1-seat fold down. Now, earlier on I mentioned the sky roof. Again, extremely nice here. It just allows for so much light into the car, and I think that's just such a good thing as well, particularly when it's a nice sunny day like today. If we come down here to the center tunnel, again, I like this kind of wooden material. I think it's very cool. One of the key things that I quite like is the amount of foot space here. You know, you've got space here. There's no unnecessary tunnel. We've got some nice storage space in here as well, and if you fancy putting your cup holder in, well, you've got ample space to put a drink in this cup holder, which does have a nice kind of brown leather strap to it. Now, in terms of your driving modes, you can obviously drive it normally in drive, and you also have the ability to kind of have the hill assist, and that will also, well, it's your hill hold basically, and also to do your 1-foot braking, so you don't have to touch the brake. You can just slow down by using, well, just by lifting off on the accelerator. You've got 2 different driving modes. You've got normal mode and you've got sport mode, depending on what you choose. Obviously, sport mode will drain the battery much more than normal mode. But the other part as well, depending on where you are, you can see over here we've got the 3 arrows pointing down. Because I've got the 1-foot driving option selected, if I wanted to use aggressive regen, I have it set to max. If I wanted to slow it down, all I would do is just click here, and you can see that it becomes much more, well, it coasts a lot more, so it charges less, but it allows you to travel more. You would need to use the brake if you are going to stop, however. And on the other side with this paddle, this is just to make it a bit more aggressive. So you can toggle that. So these aren't gear changes, if anybody had a look. So I talked about the 0 to 62 miles per hour, 8.3 seconds. Let's give it a quick little squirt now. Why not? We're in sport mode. There it is. It's a very cool little car, and I'm going to say off the bat, just the driving experience is something quite different as to what I'm normally used to. The first of which is, as I said, looking at these camera mirrors, which, like I said, it takes a bit of time to get used to because your natural thought process is to look outside the window. So whilst I've driven this for a bit now, I've got more used to it. The bit that I still struggle to get used to is this reversing camera mirror. I can flick it and I use a rear camera to see out the back. And whilst I love the concept, it messes with my eyes a bit, so I prefer the normal mirror here. But the next part that we really want to touch on is what's the drivability like on the Honda E? Because it looks great, it's got plenty of tech, but does it feel like a fun car to drive? Because yes, this is going to be a great little city car, but is it something that you can enjoy around the corners like I'm doing now? And the answer to that is yes. It is rear-wheel drive, and if you get excited and you put the traction control off, you could have a bit of fun with it. But because it's such a nice, nimble, short wheelbase car, you can throw it around, which is awesome. I mean, coming around these corners here, look at this. Not much body roll. And of course, because you've got that center of gravity through the battery, it just means that its handling is pretty good. In terms of the steering feel itself, it's a little bit wallowy. It's not very direct. You do have to, you know, the steering input, you have to put quite a bit in here. However, the turning circle on this car is pretty extraordinary. Normally when I come out my drive, I come out and I full lock and I worry whether I'm going to go in drive into the neighbor's drive. But this, it's almost like a 90-degree turn circle. In terms of kind of your day-to-day driving, your punch, you've got more than enough power to get yourself out of a lot of situations. Even in the, that sport mode, once you're around 40 miles per hour, it does start to slow down. But from that little acceleration we did earlier on, that's basically all you're going to need for a kind of day-to-day driving car. It's not a fast car, but it's a fun car. And I think that's the important part there as well. And if you're going to look in the market for an electric vehicle, my Mini Cooper S feels quicker. It feels like it's got a bit more punch, albeit it's got the same, well, very similar sized battery. But I feel more drawn to this just because it's different. The Mini Cooper S, it's ultimately still a Mini Cooper, which has had the internals replaced by battery, whereas this, it's its own standalone platform that Honda have kind of created, and I love that about this car, and it's just such a great little driving experience. So yeah, the price, as we say, £37,000 here for the advanced version. You do get, like I said, the electric, not the electric, the de-icer front windscreen, and we do get the Honda parking assist. It is still quite a bit of money, but I also do think it's such a cool car as well. And out of all the EVs out on the market, I think this is one of my favorites, just because of the way it looks and the coolness about, the quirkiness about it. Yeah, it's a very cool car. Would I buy one? If I was in the market for a city car and it needed to be an EV, this would 100% be up there in terms of the contenders to go ahead and buy it. But anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this quick little review on the Honda E. If you did, please make sure to subscribe for plenty more content to come. And of course, I will see you all very soon on the next one. Take care guys, bye bye.